Oh, it is, isn't it?
All right, 6 o'clock, call this meeting to order. Before we approve the agenda, I have one thing proposed on the agenda. To discuss action Johnson County meeting Fremont
We
County
need
Board.
to decide maybe if they will help us next Thursday.
Yeah, well, I don't know how it works with IPIB. They have guidance on what we need to do it right. So maybe we want to hold off on that.
No, we need to go ahead and do this. That one is a separate thing. If we go ahead and do it the right way, it should be okay.
And I haven't heard any guidance, so I don't know. I might just abstain from that, 'cause I don't know. I'm fine with going forward, I just don't know what to do. Make sure we do it right, so. You guys want to leave that on there?
We can discuss it, but we're not gonna make any action,
Okay.
because we can't.
Fine with that. So
So it
please,
would be illegal.
Just
I want to
discuss
make
it.
sure we do
Just
it right.
discuss it, yes.
Okay,
Okay,
sounds good.
okay, on that, we'll leave it alone then. So I hear a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
Second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let's stand up, say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Now, before we go any farther, we're going to public comment next, but coming up here, we want to make sure we have some guidelines for that. But before we go any farther into the meeting, I'd like to kind of make a statement, see what we think here. It's kind of become apparent that our county should return to the method of approving board minutes, to the method used by this board in the past, to review the draft minutes prior to adjourning the board meeting, making any appropriate changes, and then approving the final version. This will facilitate compliance with state code, grant the official papers in 7 days. Is there a consensus for this? Do you think this is returning the way it used to be done?
Yeah.
No.
John, it was done years. Was the board have, is that, did the board like that to be that way? Judy, you don't want
You
to?
can't force it.
Would you? is that-
No, I do not want it
would
that
you
way
like to go
because,
back to the
no.
way it used to be?
I think that's what we should do.
So then I would too. I'd like to, I think it would clean up the whole thing and make it solve a lot of our problems, make it efficient. And we can take a recess at the end and do claims and however much time we need to get a draft put together, just to get this resolved and move on.
You cannot force the auditor to provide the minutes tonight.
We're
you
asking
cannot.
for it to be done.
You can't. You cannot.
All right. Board consensus, we would like to have ended the meeting as it's been done in the past for years and years. So let
And I
me know
was
on the
here-
record that you're.
I was here for years and years and took the minutes for years and years, and things have changed drastically. It's not the same as it was, so
So the board would like to have this done. And let it be known on the record, that's not.
Can I ask a question? So when you do the minutes, are you doing shorthand?
Yes.
Okay. Would there be a way to just read it back to like a high level? And
Well, we need to resolve the 7-day issue, as there's there's major, I don't know, has the minutes from tonight been sent to the newspaper? Question I have. They've been sent, the minutes from last week, have they already been sent to the newspaper? there's a motion that's absolutely incorrect and doesn't even, it's not even just a typo. It is absolutely 180 degrees wrong. And I'm gonna read that and do it now or later. This is why we're gonna do this. So we need to fix these problems, and we can't fix them if we cannot have control of our minutes or meeting. So let it be known on the record that that's not gonna happen. Let that be known. Majority of the board would like that, and they're being refused. Okay, so on that, the rules for public comment, just to try to make sure we're respectful to each other, I want everybody to speak. I don't have a problem people talking, what you think, but we gotta be respectful, and we tried to do a little better last week, and it's a little better, but let's try to get the 5 minutes here at the beginning, look at the agenda, if you have something to tell us about, that's fine. We're gonna open it and we'll close it, and then the discussion, this has never happened before, Todd and I have agreed to try this, trying to help everyone have time to talk, but we've gotta be respectful and move along to each other. So just quick, brief comment after our discussion on the voting items, not our normal business, just the voting action items. We'll open up, make one comment if you have one, something you might not have thought of, then we'll close it, and then we'll vote, whatever. It's kind of the rules, so no cursing, be professional.
And no talking over someone,
Let's all
interrupting.
try to be respectful. So let's do that. So that's kind of the rules. Try to make this move efficiently and do it as best we can. So on that, we'll open up right now.
Jane Simpson. I was just wanting an update on the status of the wind ordinance list. But where is it and what's happening to it?
It's with Carl.
Yeah, we've turned in our list of
County attorneys. Public comment?
I would like to address the issues that we had last week with the minutes. As Page County Auditor, myself, and my staff are clerk to the Board of Supervisors per Iowa Code 331-504. In my 12 years as Page County Auditor, I have never had a staff member feel they needed to leave a meeting while in session. Last week's meeting pushed a new level of unprofessionalism I have never seen. I have now been made aware of some of the issues with minutes and changes the board would like to see. I am willing to compromise and make corrections of factual errors, if there are any. However, according to the Iowa Attorney General's opinion 82-113, it states, "We are of further opinion that it is the responsibility of the county auditor to determine the text and the format of the matters required for publication." The county attorney also released a memo to all of you on May 19th, 2023, that stated it is the opinion of his office that in reading the code section in conjunction with the Attorney General opinion 82-113, the text and format of the Board of Supervisors meeting are determined by the auditor for publication as required by statute. I did not realize the extent of the issues with the minutes. However, after my staff has asked you repeatedly to discuss those issues with me directly, you have not once come into my office to discuss these matters. Communication is essential in our organization, and right now we have no communication. I do ask that you be mindful and respectful of the fact that we each have specific duties per the Code of Iowa, and after repeated conversations with the county attorney, reading the Iowa Code and the Attorney General opinion 82-113, I feel that I'm upholding my duties as required by the Code of Iowa regarding the minutes. I've had many constituents approach me recently and thank me for the transparency in the minutes. Not all citizens have access to the internet or the time to watch the videos, and they appreciate the information in the printed minutes. From here forward, I kindly ask that if you have issues with the minutes, I ask that you bring those concerns directly to me instead of in a public meeting to one of my staff who is not the elected official. I also have copies of the Attorney General opinion, if anybody would like a copy, and I have copies of the county attorney's memo that was released on May 19th, if anybody would like. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Anybody else?
Regarding last week's, as a member of the county, I apologize. I'm sorry for what you had to go through. The vote on the boiler last week, I think you guys made it just an unbelievable error. You keep going back time and time again, that they did it all this way, they did it all this way, they did it all, we should do it all this way again. But the people who earmarked money for the boiler, meaning that is what it is to be spent for, there was a motion last week to go ahead and do that because of the time frame to try to get one ordered and installed before winter. Wasn't a second. It was your responsibility to uphold what the people before you earmarked. They made it very clear that money is for that only. You can't decide that you're gonna take half of it here and half of it there. So I'm like you guys to do your job. Quit being so personal and biased. Because that's what it was last week. It was 2-1, it was 2-1, it was 2-1. You look at him, you look at you, and you look right over her. The boiler issue needs to be dealt with now. We have a July 1st deadline. If you paid attention to the minute or the meeting at all last week, we have a deadline that's coming up quick. And if not, we're possibly not gonna, if the boiler goes out, we're not gonna have heat in this place this week. So, I appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Brett.
Anyone else?
Hey, my name's Wayne Anderson. Doubt anybody here knows me. Judy, no. Who's this gentleman? Todd. Just, I'm gonna get the players. So just a little background on this, so you understand why I'm asking who's who. My present background is I come up here for 6 months at a time, but the farm I now own was in the family for, it's probably over 100 years now, so I have roots in the community. And I've been up a lot. I'm retired now, so I can stay here a lot longer. I used to come up here for 2 weeks, you know, plant something, paint something, cut something, anyway, maintain the property. Anyway, I should get to the real point. You don't care about me, it's the wind generator thing. It just drives me crazy that this place seems to be willing to just, I mean, I come up here because I love the outdoors, you know, and the way it looks and everything. And, you know, I don't really think that's going to be of any help. I also should tell you some other things about my background is that I am a trained engineer back in Atlanta, lived there 99% of the time, went to Georgia Tech. I'm not trying to impress anybody, but it's just, I have a master's and I went into power electronics, power supplies, chargers. So I have that electrical background. And I have reviewed a year ago the paperwork that was put in by that Chicago place, that company. And it's like, this is getting a little bit cheesy here. Okay, we're not seeing the whole story here. And I'm offering that I will, you know, I'm retired. There's nothing that I want out of this except to review documents, look at numbers, because I don't believe what I'm seeing. And I can tell you 3 things I don't like about these guys. Is number one, I understand lately they're getting ready to sue you or have threatened to sue you, right? Number 2, last year, there were 3 generators near, I think there's 3 near a radio station. In this room, they all of a sudden went, oh, we forgot. You know, it's like, well, are you incompetent or stupid? What are you? You know, or are you lying? So is that what you want? You know, is that the kind of people you want to partner with? Number three, just remember, when you do this, you need to decommission it. And I talked to one of those guys, and they said, well, somebody will want the lines underground. They had no plan. They had no plan on that. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, what they mean is we're gonna build and walk. That's what they mean. So I'm just trying to point out, I don't know where this exactly is at this point. I think we're under moratorium, but I'm gonna talk to you, Jacob, and I would like to read the draft. And I'm offering, you know, I can tell you the numbers don't add up, okay? And I'll sit with your lawyers, and I'll sit with you, I'll sit with anybody in this room that's interested, and go over this, and we'll say what I see, okay? I mean, I'm just trying to help out. I'm not trying to say no wind generators, but if all the numbers are like they say, and it's all perfect, and you guys want it, fine with me. I'll just sit on my farm and go back to the land, you know? That's fine. But I'm telling you, the fox is on the hen house. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Just very quickly, I have to say as a resident of Page County, my name's Kate Iverson. The resident of Page County who currently is working in the northeast corner of the state. I think it's important to convey that the mess that is Page County and the way that things are being handled specifically by you mostly, it has your reputation of intolerance and ignorance and unprofessionalism extends across the state of Iowa. It is well known. I've had multiple people come up to me and say, "Oh, you're from Florinda. We got to have a talk about what's going on in places." And the unfortunate part is, I'm really happy to have lived here for as long as I have. I'm happy to be a part of this community, but when the reputation extends 4.5 hours away, I think that's something just man to man, professional to professional. You should probably evaluate on a very personal level the way that you treat people around you, and the way that you carry yourself, especially in a very public role, because it not only reflects poorly on you, but it reflects poorly on the county as a whole. And someone who has publicly stated how concerned you are about Page County, it would be something that I would take serious consideration. So that way you can represent the people that elected you in a more sensible, professional way.
Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else? JD? I'm gonna say, welcome to speak.
Good evening, JD King, Page County Engineer. Fine evening in Page County. And I'll be able to talk to that about a little bit more in a few weeks. The engineer update went out Tuesday evening. And I sent a fair and low bidder list out on the Tuesday afternoon. This week is our week with the Blade School, both classroom and in the field. We had all our operators there and 3 trainees. We sat down at Antique in the classroom, which is in the annex. I was there in one visit. Pictures and videos. But I'll be getting feedback from the men next week. Our spray brush crew is over working on the avenue on J40 on the west side of the county. The pipe crew was working not on pipes this week, but on slides and places where the ditches were encroaching on the road embankments, placing riprap all the way from the concrete plant. We have a pile in the yard also. We did not have mowers out this week. The mower guys were at the blade school learning blade operation. We were doing one person at the shop all week. The shop guy is having a wedding in his family. High up elsewhere. We did some work on a couple of motor graders, retrieved the tandem from Omaha, and contracted for next year's salt. Salt's gone up $1 a ton from $72 a ton to $73 a ton. So, given other inflationary pressures, I thought that wasn't so bad. Last year, we contracted for 300, out in the vicinity of 200 plus. And let's see what kind of winter. Bridge construction continues. They poured the south rail on the 280th Street Bridge this afternoon. All the concrete's done. It's supposed to be done last week, but it's done. Work continues on the Essex Bridge, the deck, and the diaphragms. The latest schedule of the deck pour on that is late July. Part of July. We did some pavement maintenance on J32, which is C Avenue on the west part, south of 2. They're still on that stretch. We'll be looking in next week on J14, in the west part of the county. We're cleaning out the cracks and resealing them with tar, slow down water infiltration. And then the big event of the week was a DOT letting on Tuesday. And you turn to your second page, and a couple more pages about the FM estimate sheets. I'll have to talk about that. We haven't got the contract from the DOT yet, but I anticipate that. We had 3 bidders. We saw apparently a bid there. JB Holland is red apparent low at $1,274,510. We're not adopting the contract today. That'll come, I would anticipate, next week. So it was substantially under my engineer's estimate. So our 5.5 mile job comes out to $232,000 a mile. And when we subtract out Montgomery County's portion of the project, which is a mile equivalent, to $290,000, actual cost and contract cost of Page County is $984,510. So that's less than our estimate, $1,000,009. So it's a good thing, because instead of being borrowed ahead 2.28 years, we're now borrowed ahead, expect to be borrowed ahead 1.42 years. So that leaves us a year, 1.58 years available to borrow ahead, which turns into $1,717,460. So we could project we have $1,000,007 available to borrow ahead. If J55 is approximately 5.5 miles long. And it's about the same as the job did last Tuesday. $1.7 million is greater than $1.3 million. It was interesting. Some interested last week. the potential for advancing J 55 and a year is real. And next week, we've got few bids, we'll take a few bids tomorrow, and this week. And the fiscal year's coming up, scheduled with the Volunteer Estate to do inventories and other kinds of things. Questions for the engineer out there?
I would like to, on the road issue in J 55, so. I talked with you about this, but how soon can we get the paperwork started on that? I know it can't be done until next season now, it's too late, but, and make a new 5-year plan, I don't wanna wait till next spring. I'd like to, we can come up with some more money, see how fast we can jump J 53 in a year or 2 years, it's 2027 right now, so we can put it in 25, 55 and 24, J 55.
I can say,
How much money do we need to do that?
well, we need.
You don't know on the spot, fine, just
Okay,
let's figure it out.
So, yes, we can do that. We can plan based on the numbers
We can
here.
do 55
We can
next year,
do J 55, move it in next season, yes.
but, and myself, I'd like to see J 53 3 or 4 years out right now. If we can bump that up as fast as we can and add like M 56, wherever the next worst road is, which is terrible. It's not even on the list right now.
Right.
So this is great, the bid lower, it's great. And there's dollars. I talked to Jamie Cashman this week, he told me that ARPA money's wide open, bridges and roads. So we'll see how much we have available and see what buckets we get the money out of. I would like to know what it costs each year, so we can see what money we have. You said there's some extra money from fuel tax also. We could maybe play our
RTF is coming ahead.
ahead. So I'd like to see some numbers there, just to make a plan over the next 3 or 4 years to speed this thing up. Get it all put in place, with money allocated, so these roads have been ground up for several years. And that's what we had a good opportunity, thank Lord that come in at 3.5, 350,000 per mile, or we would be not able to speed this up.
I have a question. Why is J 55 so important? I went down and I drove it, yes, Tuesday. We have roads that are in far worse shape than J 55. Far worse shape.
You want to answer that,
So-
Jamie?
I heard you say that you have equipment on that road.
Yeah, I use that
So
sometimes. but
you
know
use
why?
that.
You know why, so they're rock quarry. You know, there's, how much truck traffic's on that road, JD, from Taylor County, Montgomery County? I mean, not
You
Montgomery
talked
County,
about the,
Page County.
you talked about the dust.
Yeah, I was driving on the road, but rock truck passed me, it's unbelievable.
Well, I was going down Teak Avenue and the same thing happened, and I was going down V Avenue. And the
Teak-
same thing was happening. It's not just J 55, but J 55 seems okay for right now. I mean, I know it can go the east-west, but, I'm sorry,
Grounded up, so it's easier to maintain,
right.
but close. 56, you're not interested in that yet.
They don't wanna be
You're
ground.
not.
And I
How many
understand that.
paved roads, we talked about this for years, it's on the list, it's been gone backwards. How many paved roads in the southeast corner of Page County? How many?
Well, we have hard service roads. no
Hard
pavements.
How-
There's no pavements down.
How many hard surface roads? It's just only from Rowdyville or the start of
Well,
the
there's J 55, there's J 53.
but they're not, they're ground there.
Ground up.
Yeah.
N14, the Eastern Road, not ground up, but not good shape.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no shortage here.
Yeah, this has been on the plan for years, it's been ground up for years. That's the whole mission here, and the rock quarry. It's not operated on the rock quarry, I don't live down there, I do drive down there sometimes, and it is unbelievable, the traffic and rock turns.
The people that drive V Avenue have the dust, big dust in front of them, and you're not talking about seal coating that.
Well, it would be nice to get on the list, we have to go in order, and what we're trying to do, we're 5 years out, we're going to have M56 on the other roads, there has to be a 5-year plan. This is on the plan, has been for years, it keeps getting pushed back.
And you use J 55 more.
J 55, due to the traffic counts, we did all the traffic counts, what's traffic count, J 55?
Have it all.
Well, is it pretty high? Yeah, it's very high in our trucks, so.
But right now, it's pretty smooth, really. Pretty smooth.
You
For
got-
being gravel, it's pretty smooth. It's gotta,
Is the point though that it was once a hard tops or hard surface road?
I don't know, but-
We ground it and then we said we were gonna put it back in a certain amount of time and we didn't.
And we bumped it.
but we have some other roads that are in worse shape
Our
that
5-year
haven't been ground up, that need to be repaired.
5-year plan, it gets before me on J 55, before I was here, it was in the plans, grinding up and coming back, so.
And that's fine, if JD has he has extra money to do J 55, we don't need to raise the ARPA funds for it.
We each have an opinion on it. So anything else, JD?
That's not yours. That's not yours.
Be a chip seal, similar to what we're doing on J Road. And Basin Road.
Section here. Engineer update done, now we'll go into the, Johnson Run meeting with Fremont County Board. Levy item.
The problem with the Johnson Run thing was that it was not on our agenda to talk to them about it. So we couldn't take action, legally. And so basically what we need to do is to put it on our agenda for next week, asking Fremont County to call us next week and take action on Johnson Run at that time. Is that right, Melissa? The Johnson Run, if we put it on our agenda and they put it on their agenda, then we can do it. Yeah. Yeah. But they're gonna have to do it again for it to be a legal meeting.
Why
I
didn't we
think.
have an agenda for that? Why was it?
It wasn't on our agenda.
It's in the minutes the week before we talked.
That doesn't make it,
And we-
you want everything sent to the agenda. It's not automatically picked up.
If there's lots of things.
That
Christie
wasn't sent to
things
the
Fremont
agenda.
County.
That was not sent to the agenda.
Christie sent to Fremont County and it'd be a meeting.
She didn't send it to the agenda.
I have the email. It's for the agenda email. So anyway, so we need to, I wanna make sure the IPIV is okay with this. We're under scrutiny for that, so we'll make sure we do. it.
They're taking the action that we took a couple weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Right,
They're not gonna take the further action if we do it legally.
need to make sure. Christie Clark, no email came from the agenda email. I'll bring that next week. I don't have a way to get on there. She sent from Fremont County, from the Board of Supervisors, the agenda and the information to the agenda email in page 9 from Fremont County. I'll print that next. Anyway, I'll give that to them whenever they have their investigation.
May we
So-
put it on the agenda for next
Yes,
week?
I think it's fine. Let's make sure
Okay.
we're doing it right.
And then we just.
We will vote next week, but we need to have them call us just to make it a legal meeting, I believe.
That's fine. Make
So
sure we
will
do it right.
somebody contact them to make sure
Yes.
that they have an agenda?
Yes,
Or
I'll
that
call,
they'll call
I'll
us?
call them.
Okay. We got that handled, and we'll make the agenda for next week. Next up is the courthouse boilers. On that topic, a lot of confusion about this. Nobody doubts the boilers are old, nobody doubts they're gonna eventually fail and be fixed, and it really crawled all over them. I don't think they're gonna fail anytime soon, but if somebody wants to buy them, that's fine. If you wanna buy them, that's fine. Now, here's the issue, where we get the money from. Where we get the money. There's so many places we can't move money, and we can't use money. We have to spend in certain categories. I left my budget book at home. I left it home. If you flip back to 99 on departmental, your budget books, there is a line in there for 110,000 for heating there right now. Is that correct? Yeah, that money's not been talked about for some reason, 110,000. I flipped to the sales tax dollars. Now, in the general local option sales tax, I couldn't quite figure that out, but I found the papers we asked for in January. They gave the total. My memory, I don't know the categories. I'd like to have that broke down. There's over $1 million in local option sales tax in the surplus, basically, fund balance. Is that-
Some of that's spoken for.
Well, I would like to see that broke down. So here's my thing. We have a bridge, we have bridges out, certain parts of the county, JD still here. There's a bridge down there and by North Carolina. What's that, G out there? What is it? The Green Bridge. And we can get money from farmer market. It's a dirt road, basically, a local road, but we need that bridge. It is a priority. It would be nice to do, and it's very hard to get money. We had a bridge by College Springs, I should the same way. Very hard for us to generate money for that. this ARPA money being opened up to be spent on anything basically, including the roads, if we have a hard time getting that money. If we can spend money that's already in our budget, there's 110,000 sitting there that was sitting there for heat and air, it's on a budget line. If we use ARPA money, that money just there for, I guess, something else. We could use, maybe take 80 or 90,000 out, leave a little bit of money for maintenance if something happens. And then come up with the rest of the money on the local option. So before we do anything, there's one more week on the deadline of July 1st, which I think the sales will be fine if it took us another week. But anyways, we can do it by next week. I would like to have by category, local option sales tax, what could be spent on that we have sitting there. We need about 100,000, 80, 90,
The
100,000.
problem with that though is some of that's already allocated based
But
on.
tell me how much. I'd like to see how much is
Based on
out.
the ballot. But also too, you need to remember with the ARPA funding. The sooner you, I mean, like if you have projects, you can put that money, you could do the same with local option at times, you could put that secondary roads money, you could put the local option towards secondary road projects if you so chose as well.
I'd like to-
So
right.
with having the boiler project already upfront and ready to basically go forward with, and the ARPA funding potentially, at some point, they're looking at things that have been spoken for to potentially be taken back by the federal government. You're better off with projects that you already have to use that funding. And then you can always look at other funding options for some of the things. Something else you need to remember too is your secondary roads fund is a separate fund. It's fund accounting. So you also want to be mindful of that yes, you can take money from the general fund, but you can't, if you overspend in your secondary roads fund, the only place you can go for that is your general fund, because that's your only unrestricted fund. So you need to be careful, because we continue with these road projects, there's also maintenance with them too. And so, you know, looking long-term too, you want to be mindful that this might be a 1-year cost, but then in 2 or 3 years, there might be an additional cost that goes with that too.
So,
The
on
other
that-
thing with ARPA funds, if I may, the federal government has already scooped back in their agreement with the departments in the federal government in order to pass the debt ceiling legislation. They are scooping back any federal funds from ARPA that are unspent. So I think they are also looking at local ones that are unspent. So we need to be mindful of that also.
And some of these.
And Jacob, I was just gonna say, and just because you've gone down and looked at the boilers does not mean anything. I'm sorry. You're not an expert on the boilers. These boilers are over 30 years old. And you don't know everything about everything. And I'm just really tired of hearing that, because I think the boilers speak for themselves in being that age, that they need to be replaced.
People allowed to disagree with you, Judy?
I'm sorry.
Can I
what?
disagree with you on anything that's allowed?
You can disagree with me
I
on
just wanna
anything
make
you
that
want,
fine,
usually
disagree,
do.
I just feel like it's not allowed. Okay, JD, how fast could we assign the money to take it? How soon could you have something we could allocate money to? We could vote on it, right? We could probably vote on it. Now, as far as this, hold on, please don't interrupt me, I waited, please. As far as the taking things from different places and getting money out, the ARPA money is not the general fund, and like, the ARPA money is to spend on whatever we deem fit. Under their guidelines, the roads can apply. The boilers, if you tell us how much money is a local option sales tax that we applied to the courthouse, and we know how much money's sitting there, 110,000 for heat and air that's already there, then we can go ahead and put those together and do if we want, if the board wants to. We can go forward with boilers. And then we can go ahead and have JD put together this road deal, and free up money for J 53 and F 56, and maybe the next road you're talking about be after that, or whatever one's supposed to do the traffic. We can do that.
I guess.
I don't understand why.
There
The
is
courthouse,
no,
hold on, please let me finish. Why the courthouse, the maintenance cost, I'm all about taking care of this. I voted for $1 million to be spent on the courthouse. But why this is the only place we can shovel the money, and it needs to be all done quick, which would leave more money in the budget for the courthouse that's not even being spent. I'm having a hard time following that. We have a lot of roads that are falling apart. We're worried about the courthouse freezing. I don't want to freeze. But we have people out here, like you said, on terrible roads everywhere, Judy, and they have ambulances trying to get down those roads, or mud, they can't get around. And that seems to be the last thing we're worried about. I'm trying to make that near the top, or at least get even treatment of the courthouse. This is a building that needs to be taken care of, but the roads need to be too, and ARPA money, you go to fix, we are the most behind. The courthouse is not, it has had a lot of money spent last year. Our roads and our paved roads we ground up is probably, in my opinion, the farthest back we are right now. We're way back. So this is our way to catch up years if we're careful. And we can still get a boiler. Just take it out of a different bucket where we saved a fortune on, we put money in there for windows, we put money in there for records. Now we use ARPA for that. So free that money, local option. I would like to see those numbers. If you show me the numbers next week, look at it, and we can vote on it next week, and we meet the deadlines. And I am not against the boiler. I don't know that it's as big of a dire hurry, but what's fine. But I don't want to take money that could be used for roads. We have kind of a weird opportunity here to propel ourselves, catch up on the roads. And I want to make sure we don't miss that. Okay.
There is no local option tax put in for the courthouse. I don't think it's there.
Infrastructure.
We already put some towards, your infrastructure is gonna be towards your secondary roads.
Yeah,
And then
Buildings.
towards some
it's
very
not,
large
no,
projects.
there's nothing there for that.
Yeah,
There's
make-
nothing for the courthouse. The windows is ARPA money.
Before, we had local option sales tax money we were gonna use for windows. We were saving. I
So
remember.
that local option is on a 40-40-20 split.
Right.
Right.
So when you're looking at that, you have to follow the ballot, the
Right.
language of the ballot
Exactly.
on how you spend that each year. So even if you have a surplus that you keep referencing to the fund balance,
Yeah.
that's still
Still.
tracked through
Right.
every year. So even if you don't spend it, like last year, you guys set some money aside for the jail. So that money is gonna sit there then until you move forward with the jail because you've allocated it for that purpose.
So
And it's
these-
still divided, no matter what you
Right.
have in the balance, it is still divided.
So the 40-40-20.
And what's
Can you give us 40-40-20, the rules, and how much is sitting there that's not allocated? That's what I'd like to see. Because there is money there. How much money in each category is sitting there, whether it be road or buildings or whatever? Just tell me how much is not allocated in those three sections. Do you understand that? Does that,
I understand what you're saying, but I also need you to understand too, that every year when we get that local option, like say it's 300,000, that's broken out on that 40-40-20 split. So if at the end of the day, you have, say, 100,000 left of that, and it's still broken out between those three splits, you can't at the end of the year pile all that together then and
No.
say,
I'll
we're
say,
gonna put it all towards this project because that's where we wanna go. It still has to, by that ballot language, follow those splits.
And it's
I-
also an estimate. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that total amount either, Melissa, does
there's
it?
over $1 million that is in that fund balance. So I saw beyond what we have allocated each year. So what I'm.
No,
just
that's
asking-
not what's beyond allocated. Some of that money is allocated.
Okay,
If
I'm
you
saying
listen to what
beyond
she
what
said.
each year is, we decided, so it might be allocated, that's fine. I would just please like to know how much is not allocated in each section. I mean, there has to be money that's not allocated in each section. And then what the rules are to how it's spent. Because we're not looking for a lot of money here.
I guess overall, how much are you looking for?
About $100,000 probably.
For
The boiler.
J55?
The boiler, no, this is the boiler.
For the boiler, so if we could supplement. we could
Tell us
find-
which.
Okay, first of all,
Go.
you're talking 100, where are you getting 100,000?
We have
The
100
cost is 208,000.
We have
Right, we're trying to
110,000.
split that.
What I told you last week, if you listened, was the fans in all of these units are needing to be replaced. That's gonna take a good portion of that 110,000 that's in there.
Well, we'll tend to that when we get to look at those figures. There's 110,000. So I've not
No.
heard any figures on replacing a fan for 110,000.
Now, the fans, when I talked to Justin, because
Yeah, he didn't
I
act
did
like
talk
that
to him,
to me.
he was not worried about the fans.
Yeah, he wasn't me. either.
He's not here, he hasn't even looked at the fans to replace
He did
them.
look at them.
Troy is the one who's having to replace them all.
He said that he not worried about the fans.
Melissa.
Because I asked, because you brought it up. and I
Is
said,
Troy having to replace the fans?
We had two, basically recently, that have had to work on them that have had issues. So he's
But he's
parting them
like,
together.
party,
So,
well,
I mean, it's not ideal.
I just,
We've taken
when I talked to
pieces-
Justin, I specifically asked him, because you brought it up, Judy.
I did.
And I wanted to ask him, I said, what do you think about the fans? Are they gonna cut? And he said, I think the fans are the least of your worries. They'll be fine. Someday they'll have to be replaced, but not right now.
But he's replacing some now, a few at a time. Jerry rigged these up here to make it cooler up here tonight. So But basically, we need to take action on the boilers. It goes down to the fact that you've been dealing with this since January. It was presented to you in January. You've messed around for 6 months and haven't done anything about it. We're down to the point now where we're coming to July 1st. Justin said he would extend that price. He was able to find some boilers. But as far as getting them installed before winter, that's an issue. And they think they can get it done, but we can't keep putting it off.
Would you like to, again, won't beat a dead horse here, but in January, sat right here, want us to vote for it, and I said, no, we need to look into it, it was 238.
Okay, I have something else to
And
say
he
about
backed
that.
up 30,000.
Okay, and I have the reason for that, which I forgot to tell you last week. I was, I didn't think about that. Justin said that the reason that that it came back down is because he was bidding it for 2024. So that's why the price was higher, because he was bidding it at a higher price for the boilers.
I talked to him, I called him, I
So-
told him, I said, we're gonna bid this, Justin, he said, I can sharpen my pencil. That's what he told me.
But that was
I
why it
told him,
was.
Okay, well,
because now-
whatever reason, if we had voted on it that day, it'd have been
Still
238,000.
saved us
$30,000.
It doesn't make any
So,
difference. Can we
some-
please do something about the boilers?
Well, here's what my opinion is, just one opinion. I would like to know this local, I know we have 110,000, and any other money that can be spent on this for these fans that might go out, we might need to know about. I would like to know local option sales tax. What is the fund balance that's not allocated in each category? Maybe we need to know for the roads. I'd like to know that. And then next week I can make an educated decision. Once I know that, that's my.
You can make an
And
educated
we all can.
decision.
I would like to know. I mean, I guess if
Aye.
you don't wanna know it.
Could
I'd like to know.
would you be willing to compromise that the three of you would approve the boilers and
That's what I was just
I
gonna say.
promise not to touch the ARPA if I can find it in 99 local option to pay for the boilers?
Say that again. You
Can
want
we
to pay for it?
compromise and you guys go ahead and approve boilers tonight, if I could go ahead and find the money in 99 and local option?
Yes, I'd be good with it. I think it's, I don't know if it's imminent, but it's fine. If you guys think that's fine. As long as it's not our fix, we can use that money for roofs.
So, yeah, so I would just
And
make,
if not, I'll have to come back next week, but
make
you
sure
guys will
that
approve it and I can find the money in 99 and local option to move forward.
Now in 99, that, yeah, what does that mean? That's that.
It's non-departmental.
So
Can
we
you-
have to
can-
touch
can-
any ARPA.
That's kind of what I'm after, because then we can use ARPA money for bridges or whatever. So we can't use 99, can we, for bridges and stuff? Not really. I mean, it's allocated. to
No,
certain
you
departments.
can't.
So that's what I'm saying. We can use it for the courthouse, like for a bridge, by North Grove, needs to be. I'm fine with that. I would like to know exactly where it's coming from, but I would be good with that.
Can I get it, if you guys approve that, and then if I can't, I'll come in next week and let you know, and then we'll have to negotiate. But so then we pay our last claims, they drop Monday, so,
They dropped in Monday?
Yeah.
So you would pay for the boilers Monday or not? I mean, you would, this is last year's budget I'm looking at, this
correct, you're wanting to pay for it this year,
in fiscal year 23.
Yeah. June 30th is next week.
So you're gonna take the, out of
And if
99,
we start rolling, we don't pay our claims. until June 30th, but process starts.
so where are you thinking? You're just gonna hunt around different sections out of 99 or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look around 99, if I've got extra money in my budget, I'll throw some, I'm sure Brendan, Angie, if they have a little bit, they'll throw a little in. Not to put you guys on the spot, but.
Well, so you think, I'm fine with that, but we need to look at maybe exactly where it's coming. Is there any problem just doing that next week, just showing us where it's coming from and vote it through? Just showing.
Could we just do it tonight, please, and get it done?
Trying to make sure we're all looking at what we're doing. So we don't have
Well,
to
I
change
think-
anything.
Try to tell you if it doesn't.
Department 99 and local offices.
Yep, and then if I need a little bit more after, and then can't get enough there, I'll see if the treasurer or the recorder will have any extra funding they would be willing to chip in.
If there's anything for the board left, they should chip in too.
Is that a compromise that we can think on that to move forward?
Well, on the boiler, that's what we kind of asked for last week, is find the money in the budget and on local office sales tax. So that's what we said last week, I'm fine. Have no problem with that, what do you guys think?
yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's gotta, we're gonna get them.
I just don't want.
That's
something
not,
to happen.
for debate. We're gonna get them.
Now,
Well, I mean, some way. We're just trying to figure out the way. And I
Now, there
think we
is
all
an
agree.
Justin did say that very low, I'm not gonna borrow money, but very low interest, very low government interest rates if you want to borrow.
Yeah, I mean, Justin gave me some options. I mean, one, you could buy just one boiler this year and then buy one next year. You could do that. I mean, well, you smirk, but.
I'm not smirking, I'm
he
thinking,
just
why
gave
not
me-
do it all at one
I
time?
know, but I'm just trying to find options that doesn't cost us all the money at once, maybe, but.
200,000, you're talking millions for roads,
It's,
but we can't do $200,000 for a boiler.
nobody said
Boilers.
we can't, these are just options. These are
Yeah,
just
I was
options
just trying to
look
make
at.
an option, so.
The taxpayers. will
I
look-
move that we move ahead and we purchase the boilers. We sign the contract to purchase the boilers
More to that motion.
for 208,000.
And contingent. It comes out of 99,
Contingent on.
Not out of ARPA funds. Is that good
no,
enough?
not 99 and local option sales tax, correct?
And can we throw in auditor and potentially recorder and treasurer if we need to? Would you guys be willing to?
I don't
think you're gonna.
I don't think you're gonna need to.
But if I get down and I have five.
So you look at it, we'll look at our budget, you can list us all in there if it needs. So. The board will look at it too. I just don't want.
So I'll
to
make my motion for 200, that we sign the contract for the boilers for $208,173.59 to purchase 2 boilers, have them installed before winter starts, taking the money out of basically the general fund and possibly the local option tax.
General fund, the same word for 1099, for Department 99.
The general fund, yes, and they're talking about Department 99, yes.
It's the
That
controller
includes the
and
controllers,
it's
yes,
the
it
whole
does.
thing.
Yes.
It's contingent on it.
I would second that.
Okay. All right, other discussion on that, we have lots of discussion. Discussion on that? Vote? Yeah, read that motion back, please, that is correct. Can you read that back? Okay, that makes sense. It makes sense. Right? All those in favor?
Aye. Did you sign this? please?
Okay. Now, let's see. Now, next up on the agenda, we have action on Winterset Drive property road completion. We have some information on that.
Yeah, so, the Realtor gave me a call. I got a letter from, cause I couldn't print it out. Printer is on the fritz. But basically, she has contacted a lawyer. And they feel that the county should be. Here, I'll just read you what she wrote to me. Mr. Maher, my realtor Stephanie Bowden informed me this morning that once again, the subject of Winterset Drive is on the agenda for tomorrow's board meeting, June 22nd. I have an attorney handling this for me. His name is Michael Winter. He gave me his office number. Mr. Winters forwarded me 3 pages related to the vote on the resolution. Page numbers for these pages are missing and are as follows. And then she gave us kind of the same thing that we have, but their definition of, I guess, where that road should be completed out to is different than what we stated in our 1972 resolution that we voted to maintain. And so basically, the lawyer is supposed to be sending us a letter to the board. I invited him to come tonight, but he couldn't make it. And I also invited Susan Fox and Stephanie to come as well, but neither one could make it. So I told them I would bring this information to the board, and then just kind of, I talked to JD a little bit too about it. Just to kind of give him a heads up that we'd probably be seeing this letter from the attorney. It sounds like they were not happy with, our discussion about the road and where it ended and how phase 2 is put in there. If where our liabilities end and begin.
And this is about, just for general knowledge, everybody's out there about putting in a road in a subdivision that was never, the road was never developed.
And she basically said you have two options, either put the road in or buy the property. That's what is gonna be,
No.
the attorney
No.
said is gonna happen.
No, don't think
So
so.
I was like, well, okay.
The only thing we committed to by memory in the records was that we would do half the gravel as they built it, right? This is my memory, just record, when we read that the other day.
After they put it in.
After they put it in, we would cover, we did commit to that. That's what I think. Agreed with you.
It's on my phone, but I'll try to print it off.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you.
That's the same one I got it.
Yes.
They had something that was, it looked like there was a road called Pheasant Run. Is there a road out there called that, or was that just something that was?
It's all Elm Place because they had something, there was something before, I know,
Yeah,
but it's Elm Place.
so, okay. Yeah,
But
cause I was confused,
that's
I
the
didn't know if
street
that
sign.
was what they thought was gonna happen, was it expand or?
Did they receive this? Have they got a copy of this? The people want to put the road in, a copy of the record.
I don't know, this is
What's it?
JD,
They do, yeah, she does have
They
a
have
copy,
the
yeah,
copy.
yeah, she has a copy of the 1972 resolution. Because I think she actually brought it to us on.
Well, when she brought
came-
this thing, yeah.
Yep, it was in there,
Yeah.
so they have seen that.
But you gave us this thing that says it's a platted street that was not built. Yeah,
it's pretty simple, y'all handled it on the 25th of May, 2023,
Right.
it's in the minutes.
yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything
Yeah.
we missed?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, and I don't know where this Pheasant Lane came
You can-
because it's Elm Street.
Yeah, I
Sue
don't
about
know.
whatever you want, but you can't always win.
So if they develop it according to what's in the record for 72, then we would cover half the cost. So H County is willing to share one half the cost of the initial rock surface.
That's what he said.
That's what we put in May of this year. There's something, I mean, so what is their argument to that?
I don't know.
Do you know?
And no, and that's under stage 1, and then there's supposed to be a stage 2.
Yes.
That never
Well,
happened.
the stage, this would be stage 2. Because they never did it.
That
Yeah.
would be my reading of the 1972 resolution establishing the Spring Valley subdivision. I'm perplexed where they're going with this, it seems pretty clear to me.
Says
We get lawyers involved.
the owners of the land described have completed the initial construction of the streets in the subdivision, the grading to acceptable elevation, and providing one half the initial gravel. So they're supposed to grade it and build it, and we'll.
The thing that I find interesting about this is when we buy houses in town, we don't have any thing beside us. We have people beside us. So she says she doesn't have any outlet or whatever. She has the front, just like all of us do when we buy a place in town.
It's behind some properties and that.
No, it's on a street. This is the one she owns right here. This is the Winterset Drive that was never done.
Yeah, her property's that great big,
Her property is
Correct.
this one right here.
the big one. in the
Isn't
back
the one
down by
that's
the
blocked,
ditch. You
it's
know,
kind of blocked in, it's in the back towards the west.
that big one, that one, you're talking about.
But I thought she owned this one too, doesn't she, in the front?
Houses on
It's for
both sides.
sale. No, it's for sale. That one's for sale. It's a lot. I took pictures.
Yeah, one of the neighbors I stopped by and looked at was concerned, they put their for sale sign out there at the end of that, what's supposed to be a street.
Right.
And he says misleading, because
Okay.
it's misleading, people keep thinking his house is for sale. It's that large, maybe about 5 acres, that's to the west, down by the ditch, it's very
This,
low elevation, it
is
doesn't,
that, okay.
so they have a hard time getting to it. Highway 2 is another option, it's very easy. The easiest thing would be for them to develop that street,
Correct.
but it's not
That's
hard.
what they need to do with the development of the home, the residents.
When they do their dirt work, make room.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, so. Outside of new information we don't have in front of us, I don't know how we do anything.
The lawyer knows.
So
Yeah,
we're
I
looking-
mean, see when we get that letter, I guess, and see what.
Outside of
I
that,
just wanted everybody to be aware, so
Yeah.
nobody was blindsided.
Yeah.
okay,
No, not what is that?
okay,
Is that the letter from the?
It's the letter. Over here.
It's what? No, he just texted me, and like I said, I invited him to this, but he wasn't able to make it, so he said he was sending the letter, but
I think it was sitting over.
maybe, can you send that out to all of us? 'Cause I didn't see it, but thank you.
next up is board communication. And on that one, I think this Sunday night is Cowboy Church Courthouse Lawn or out, I think east. So I have no problem with that, I can do that. You know, keys.
I had a Zoom meeting today with SUPCO. Going over some financial things, and they had a closed session for about an hour. And I think next week I have a Zion meeting at 9:30 on Monday.
I have a mental health, area regional meeting next week, also in Oakland.
Okay, nothing else on that, we'll do the minutes. Printed the minutes off the website. Okay, and there's, here. Does everybody have minutes? Do you have minutes?
I do.
You have to,
Mhm.
well, I'd like to go to the,
Do you have a copy?
okay. We can go over these together last week. Fixed on it, but one of the biggest ones that's absolutely, it's a motion. I guess it's been sent to the newspaper and it's absolutely, this is why the board needs to have their minutes, to be able to amend their minutes. This is wrong, this paints a false picture, it's the whole reason we're trying to clean these up, the board should be able to look at them, and think, wow, this isn't even discussion, it's the motion. You go to the very end of the minutes, you go down there, 3 sentences up at the end where it says Holmes made a motion to strike, you see that part? I'm gonna read this to you, how it's in the minutes. And then I'm gonna read to you what the actual motion is off the video. You see if there's any difference, let's go to the newspaper. And motions are supposed to be correct by Iowa code. Here's what it says in our minutes. Boardman Holmes made, let's see, I'm gonna stop. Holmes made a motion to strike all public comment from future meetings. Stop right there. That's what it says in the minutes for the official record. Right? All, now, does that sound like something I'd say? Maybe I said it, maybe we did, but that was something I would never say, because we are all about public. Always have been. The actual wording from the video, you can watch it yourself, 2 hours, 26 minutes. I encourage everybody to watch it. Here's what it actually is. This is in the newspaper. Holmes made a motion to strike all discussion from the minutes. Is that different?
You didn't want public comment in the
Hey,
minutes.
I'm going off exactly.
You didn't want public comment in the minutes. That's what this is referring to.
I am reading the minutes right now. It says in our minutes that it's sent. Motions are supposed to be in the minutes, right?
This was not,
And it
You
was
didn't-
seconded also, Todd seconded that motion. We canceled that.
you canceled the motion.
But Todd seconded it's not in it. Let's just go over it again. What it says, let's just say the statement, let's just say discussion, which, this is a motion though. I made a motion to strike all, here's what it says in the minutes. This is the minutes, not what I said. Holmes made a motion to strike all public comment from future meetings, like forever. I did not make that motion. The motion I made, which I watched the video, this is not from memory, I watched it, was to strike all discussion from the minutes. That's totally different. Now, when somebody picks a newspaper up, read it, this is not a newspaper, it has my name on it. My name is on those minutes, and they should not be, because we have not voted to approve them. And that is not right, that is incorrect, that
There-
makes, somebody, hold on, somebody reads that newspaper, and they say, Jacob Holmes made a motion to strike all public comment for future meetings, like no one can talk in a meeting, and I've been willing to let anybody talk all they want, basically. That is false, that's unclear, error or not, it's an error, they've been sent to the newspaper. Now, if we had done last week, if we'd have just went over these minutes, I would have said, hey, that's not quite right, and we could have worked that out. But instead, they've been sent to the newspaper. And that is totally incorrect, and the reason why we need to, in a timely manner, look at our minutes before they go to the newspaper. This needs to stop on the newspaper before this board gets a chance to look at their minutes. That is absolutely wrong. And now, I don't know if you take an ad out, fix this in paper. This is unbelievable, unacceptable. And this board cannot function with these things happening. Yes, go ahead, respond to that.
If you'll look at this paragraph, we're talking about minutes. And you actually said several times, you wanted all public comments out of the minutes.
What
Right?
about meetings? The word meetings, do I want them out of the meetings?
You wanted all public comments, the minutes, which is like in future meetings, you don't want any of it in there.
I'll read again
We're
what it
talking
says.
about minutes, Jacob.
Yeah,
This
but the
paragraph is about minutes.
Yeah, well, it says Holmes made a motion to strike all public comment from future meetings. That is, you can't see how that paints a picture opposite of public comment from the minutes.
Most people will look at this and see that we're discussing minutes.
A motion wording is very
And it
serious.
doesn't make any difference because there was no second to it.
There was a second, actually. Watch
There
the video.
wasn't.
Todd seconded that. Yes, there was. We need to start playing videos here again. Todd seconded that motion. Now, I made comment that we already did this in January and we just canceled. We've already done this motion, so we didn't actually go vote on it. But the words are in this is our official record forever. This isn't just some scratch notebook we're gonna lay in a corner. That's printed in the newspaper. It's incorrect. Absolutely incorrect. And it's very incorrect to me. It paints a picture that I'm against people talking in a meeting, which is not true. It never has been. So I am not happy about that being in the minutes and being in the newspaper this week. And tax dollars have been spent to print that in the newspaper. And it just so happens to be pretty good swipe at me in the minutes. The minutes should be non-biased. No matter who writes them, they should look exactly the same. They should not be different. They should be objective and tell the truth, like we talked about at length. This board needs to look at its own minutes and approve them. And because in 1992, which I gave everybody last week, the Attorney General gave the opinion, the minutes are the board's, they're ours. We're responsible if they're messed up. How are we responsible for something we can't even fix? It's sent to the newspaper. I talked to Carl this week, and board communication, we're going to the Attorney General with this. I do not do, the 1982 ruling wasn't talking about her public comment. Yeah,
Not who takes the minutes.
Yeah.
I wanna go to the
that's two
Attorney
different
General.
things.
Todd, would you like to go to the Attorney General for this?
Yeah,
We can
I
pose
mean,
the
we've gotta
question.
get it fixed.
We have to. And when we go there, I am more than confident that 2 or 3 people haven't figured out something that no one else in Iowa knows. That every board in Iowa, from FFA to the Board of Supervisors, the clerk is not in charge of the minutes, and they can print whatever they want in the newspaper, not the board have their opinion in it. John Herzberg talked to me about it, so it doesn't make any sense to him. I would like for the Attorney General, maybe I'm wrong, I doubt it, and then we're gonna pose, he said he would pose the question. We will make our question to see, we need to find out where our meetings. This is the Board of Supervisors, this is not the auditor's office. We need to find out, these are the Board of Supervisor minutes. Do we have control of these minutes or not? I now have something in the minutes that I am not happy about, that is false and not true.
You're not happy about the minutes anytime, Jacob. And did you have,
Actually, we,
did you, I'm talking, did you hear what the gentleman said? Intolerance, ignorance, unprofessional. That's what this board has become. And this is the fight every single week on minutes, because something doesn't agree with something you said.
okay.
If you don't want it in the minutes, don't say it.
Well, how about this? I didn't say this and it's in the minutes. How about that? So what do I do about that, Judy?
And I've had things that were put in the minutes that you wanted out of the minutes because you said I didn't say.
So the last several weeks, we voted through our minutes. So we changed some stuff and we took a vote and it was usually 2-1. And we amended our minutes and approved them based off of, so those minutes have never been changed on the website.
Never.
And now we don't know where those minutes are. Do you know where those minutes, what happened to those or how we?
Where are the minutes that we amended? Where are they at?
I don't think you've given them to anybody.
I hand them every time I do a correction.
okay.
I give them to whoever's here. Now, and that's another thing. When we have somebody else sitting here, you are delegating the responsibilities of clerk to that person, is that right? You have that right to do that.
I just want to back up real quick, and let's just be clear on this. When those minutes go out, they're sitting as unofficial. So regardless of whether you approve them or not, when we publish those, if you haven't approved them, they go out and they say they're unofficial.
Yeah, they say unofficial and they're wrong. So then we vote on the next week. Okay, let me read this again. It said Holmes made a motion.
But we don't change them after we vote. After they go to the paper, we don't send them to the paper a second time and say, here's the official minutes.
No. Now, how many times has unofficial minutes been printed in the newspaper in Page County District? How many times? For the Board of Supervisors? I looked back, I couldn't find it. I looked.
That's because the Board of Supervisors was more, tolerant and more approving of things that happened in the past.
Now, we have minutes out that are totally false right now. I brought 2 examples last week. Let's go up here where it says,
I think too, you need to back up a little bit, because at that point in the meeting, my clerk actually had left the meeting for how you treated.
Yeah.
That is true.
So trying to get those minutes was extremely difficult on our part, and actually, I don't even know if that was a legal portion of the meeting that then you continued to hold without having the clerk to the board present.
You're right on that one.
So I think too, you need to back
Well,
up and
on
take
that,
a step back and realize that we're trying to do our job and we're trying to work with you. And sometimes I would encourage you to sit and try to take the minutes
I have this.
yourself and then see how different it is. And I would encourage actually all 3 of you, you guys have really scrutinized my staff and myself over these minutes for the last several months. I would encourage each of you one meeting to all 3 take the minutes and then see how different your minutes all are. Because everybody hears things differently and we continue to talk over each other. It is extremely difficult for us. And it's extremely difficult when if we have to pull a tape to ever try to listen back to see who said what, and you get parts of it. Some of you choose to mess with your microphones at different times or do different things. It's hard to hear that. And so I know you feel like we're just out to like put all these things in. We're not. We're trying to hear what's being said and trying to record it accurately, but we all interpret and sometimes hear things differently. And it would be appreciated if sometimes you guys would have a little tolerance for that, whether it says minutes or meeting. I feel like sometimes you try to get really nitpicky on things, which is sometimes really frustrating because we're really trying to do our job with accurately.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I've taken minutes because I've been secretary for the fire department. One thing I learned is you can't capture everything. And I've tried to write a book and they were like, don't write a book. We don't want to relive the meeting again. And so, you know, they may be fine tuned to what just was important. And so I feel like sometimes we're asking, that's what we're asking for, is just what's important. Not all the discussion of the banter and the things that are going on, just, you know, the clear cut. And I would hope that that was easier for you guys to take minutes by having just, oh, I don't have to worry about catching every word Jacob said. I just have to worry about the motion and who voted what and what.
Right.
And I mean, I would hope that that would make your job easier instead of harder.
And, you know, we should try in minutes to adjust things,
And-
and I. think
and there
we
was a
did
couple-
that, And then we readjust.
Yeah, there was a couple of weeks there that the
They
minutes
were
were
good.
awesome. They
We
were
said
good.
we put them through
And
for a couple months, I think.
And I think you guys did a really good job. And I think it's very difficult for you guys to try to hear everything. And then that's the other part of that then is, then yeah, you do hear just half things or you don't hear the whole thing. And so you're doing the best you can to type in what you're trying to type in. But so I think, you know, what started all this was how do we eliminate that aggravation of, oh, that's not right, and just get to the basics of, okay, here's the motion, here's the, you know, and if you, because I know when you've taken minutes, well, so you've asked questions, what did you say there? What, you know, clear it up. But,
I do that, I mean, like, this is my first. so she's
right,
still-
absolutely.
And, you know, that's part of it, and also too, I mean, from you guys' standpoint, if you guys could try to not over each other and, you know, pause and just wait, it would be appreciated from our end too, because when you all start talking over, especially sitting even back here, it's extremely difficult sometimes to hear, and sometimes then if you say something and then he chimes in, and sometimes you guys go from one thing to another very quickly, and,
But do you have to capture all of that?
No,
And we usually don't, we try to just have it behind, I mean,
Yeah, just like the, okay, so
like the
you know, if we
motion.
make a motion and then Judy seconds it, we vote all this in favor, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then so last week, you know, we talked about the public comment and John, I think, made a comment and I think a couple other people from the, you know, that you don't have to have all the public comment in there. Sometimes it's nice to know who was at the meeting. I don't have a problem with that. No.
and we try to keep that really
And-
brief, just to. get
Yeah,
kind of
just
the-
here's what their topic was. They talked about the wind, or they talked about the boilers, or I don't really have a problem with that. I think just trying to take out all of the things that are insinuating,
Not objective.
just because it's just like an email. You can send an email to somebody and 10 different people will read it 10 different ways. And now, at no fault of you, you send an email and it may come across like, oh, he's yelling at me in the email, and that's not the way anybody wanted it, but, so I think trying to get to, you know, it's super important that we get this figured out, because like I said last week, we have so much stuff to do in this county that's way more important. So, I mean, I hope we can find a good spot to be.
Right now, our votes are irrelevant. Our opinion is irrelevant. We are not being.
Right, and that's kind of
We are
the
not
thing we
being
feel.
listened
We
to.
feel like the votes that we do on our minutes, so we amend them and then they don't matter because they weren't published.
And I guess one thing I would encourage you all to do is, I mean, like, you said that you feel some of the minutes are, biased. If you can provide me specific examples of those, that would really assist us, because when we write these, we're trying to write them from, if Jacob says something or Todd says something, we're trying to reflect that, and, if you feel like we're misconstruing what you're saying, then you need to let us know, because we're not trying to, by any means, fabricate the minutes.
If you talk to a parliamentarian, I've done a lot of reading on this, they say discussion is very dangerous in minutes because it cannot be objective. That's not, you know, that's a very elementary thing about minutes. I mean, if you ask I'd like to have a parliamentarian just come here and talk. A lot of people have said this on their own. Getting extra stuff is very dangerous, that's obvious. It can be written any which way innocently and not give the accurate representation. Or it could be done on purpose. It can be done either way, so. Like somebody brought Montgomery County minutes to me, I read over, they look pretty matter of fact, they look like an agenda with votes on it. So looks like, and maybe some numbers, that somebody has a dollar figure for boilers and
And I
something.
think if you look across the state, there's
Our
a 50-50 mix on who counties do it.
I would like to have Montgomery County style minutes. So I'd like, you know what, this is the board I sit on, you guys sit on here. If the board wants that kind of minutes, I believe that should be their right. I'm not trying to hold anything out. We should have minutes that are clean and clear and simple. And be a lot easier to take. And on the easiness, I understand sitting back there would be hard, and I've thought about this, and I don't know if I've ever said it at the meeting. I think we should probably bump up here, and you guys should come sideways, so you can see speaker and see us. Because sitting behind us is very difficult. I don't know if it fit, that's just an idea I had, it would be very difficult to sit behind somebody, to take minutes on. In a courtroom, the clerk always sits where they can see everybody. So that's just an idea, to make that easier. But Montgomery County minutes aren't bad or wrong or leaving out important details, I don't think. And they're just one county close to us, they had very clean, simple minutes that I don't think we would probably ever have any arguments about except for spelling. Maybe, or a typo. I would like to do that, but Todd, would you like to do something like that?
Yes, but
Judy, what about you?
And yet some of the people from the public that have been here the last couple of weeks have asked for more information in there to know what's going on.
Well, that's fine. I don't think they're holding anything out there, everything I've heard of the public. So if we like that style, we sit here and it's the Board of Supervisors minutes, we're asking the clerk, could you do this style minutes? That's what we asked in January. Is that unreasonable?
I think you're not understanding the code though.
So,
Because if you look at the code and what I just spoke about at the beginning of this meeting, it says the auditor is responsible for the text
in format of what?
and the format.
Of what? Of what's required. I talked to Carl about this. You look up in the
We
same
have to
paper,
talk to Carl about it.
you go up there and what's required is what we've talked about 100 times. Date, time, place, exact wording,
And I
emotion.
think that's where you and I differ on interpretation of that.
Okay,
I
then we
also
need to go to
thought-
the Attorney General. If you want, the
There-
board would like to have minutes, at least Todd and I sounds like, we'd like to have minutes
There
that
is an
resemble.
attorney general reference, it's 82-1.
Yeah, we can ask a new question. That's how that question came. That question actually came on, the board 82 was asking if they could summarize the resolution. Right? They wanted, did you read it? They wanted to summarize the resolution, but you can't. Resolution has to be in full format. They wanted to summarize. Read the opening initial question. So they said, no, you can't summarize. So the auditor is in charge of what is required, those exact wordings, the formats of the resolution, the motions.
That was not what that attorney
Not
general's
extra.
opinion was about.
Read it again. I read it. That's what I got.
It says Courtney to Anderson, Audubon County Auditor, 12782. Mr. Ryan Anderson, Audubon County Attorney, you have requested an opinion of the county or of the Attorney General regarding the publication of the proceeding of the Board of Supervisors. You have inquired whether it is necessary to publish the minutes of the meeting or whether it is permissible to publish a summary of resolutions and parts of the minute book. You also inquire as to whether the board or the county auditor determines the text and format of matters required to be printed. We are of the opinion that it is not permissible to publish a summary of resolutions and minutes of the proceedings of the Board of Supervisors. Such proceedings must be published in full. We are of further opinion that it is the responsibility of the county auditor to determine the text and format of the matters required for publication.
Yeah, and you go to what's required for publication, it's right there. It says, the minutes, right below, keep reading. What shall include a record of all actions taken, complete text of motions, resolutions, amendments, and ordinances adopted by the board. That's
Jacob,
what's required. So anyway, we don't agree, that's fine. We need to go to the Attorney General with a new question. Here's my two questions. Can the Board of Supervisors amend their minutes? Can we amend our minutes? Then my second question, I've written them better, providing they meet Iowa code. Second question would be, if we can, which minutes should get published? As long as timeframes are met, the amended minutes, or the board's approved minutes, or the draft minutes? Those two questions I would like to see, because there's no board that I know of anywhere that is not able to approve their minutes and then have them printed. It's like unheard of. And you're quoting this 82 thing, and if you believe that's fine, I think we gotta get somebody higher to give us an opinion on this, because I don't buy it. So we need a higher opinion. But just the here, right now. If the board would like to have minutes that resemble Montgomery County, which they look like they have good, clean minutes, I had people from the public give it to me. That's our wishes. They're not bad. They're legal, good, clear minutes. You're refusing to do that. That's not what you want to do, because you believe you're in charge of it, and we don't have any say.
It says in chapter 21.3, which you reference several times, section 2, that the minutes shall show the results of each vote taken and information sufficient to indicate the vote of each member present.
You know what that means? Yes or no? Each member present.
No,
how
it
you
means
vote.
discussion also.
No, it doesn't.
Jacob, I took minutes for many, many, many years. We've been able to go back and refer to those minutes many times, sometimes to prevent a lawsuit or prevent a loss of a lawsuit. We've gone back to find information. Some of your anti-wind people came in and did a lot of research in the minutes, and they found the information that they needed because the minutes were thorough and complete. You want to take everything out of them that has any information at all for the general public. Yes, it is true. You want to cut it down to, okay, you made the motion, second the motion, it passed. That's all you want in there. That's not what good minutes are. Good minutes are ones that explain why each of us voted the way we did, if necessary. It also can include comments by the public as to whether they impose their information on us and maybe got a different viewpoint. I never had a problem. I've never, ever had a problem. And all the time I was the auditor, I never had the problem that we're having in this boardroom now about minutes every single week. The last two meetings, it's been over an hour, and here we go again. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to adjourn this meeting and get out of here and quit discussing minutes.
Somebody filed a lawsuit based on these minutes that's in the newspaper, there's false statements in here. So
Who's
that,
gonna file a
I'm
lawsuit?
just saying, you're saying go back and you can straighten things
The
out.
only-
These are incorrect.
The only one that would
And
file a
that's-
lawsuit is you.
And that's not true.
Yes, it is,
And-
because you don't like what's in there.
Well, okay, well, yes, I do object to this, and therefore on the board, if the majority of the board agrees that something is not objective, they should have that right.
Let's wait until Carl gets another answer. I think we're gonna get the same answer from the Attorney General. An Attorney General's opinion is the Attorney General looking at the Code of Iowa and doing an interpretation, and that has stood since 1982.
I do not read into the same thing you get at all. But what you do get means every board in Iowa supervisors is voting on the minutes in vain because the auditor can write whatever she wants. So I do not buy that. So anyway, on the minutes.
Most of them-
One thing I just want you to keep in mind though, is just like with this Winterset Drive property, had you not had some of that detail in the minutes from years ago, you wouldn't have had some of that support to move forward.
What
So
I've done,
there are times, and I mean, like years ago, when we were in the KML lawsuit, I mean, we basically won that lawsuit from the minutes that Judy had. I mean, with the detail in there. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I think also too, you need to look at it from a different perspective too, and think about the fact that sometimes our minutes have become really critical in key litigation that we've been
I-
through.
like you just said, you can hardly hear us. It's hard for you to do it. We're being told right now that this is gonna be forever record. The three of us can't amend it. We can't say, hey, you heard that wrong. That's not right. You're sending it off and you're not even keeping our correction. So therefore, one person or two, if you review it with her, is in charge of what's forever record, and we are the ones having a meeting, and we can't say, that's not right. We have no power over that according to, I guess, Carl, you, and Judy. That's the three I know of that agree with me. So I don't buy that, and if I have any responsibility in this, I'm not gonna give up until we get a clear answer. Who's responsible for this? Who,
And will you accept that answer?
if it's true and right, I'm not gonna accept the 19.
No, that's not what I'm asking. If they give you an answer,
we-
are you going to accept that answer?
If we pose the question at hand, and it goes to whatever higher power, Attorney General or court, and it comes down that it's true, that the Board of Supervisors has no control of their minutes, then I guess we'll accept it.
You will?
But the question posed
Can I
cannot
have
be
that in
posed,
writing?
cannot be posed privately. We need to be part of posing the question, so we know the answers correct.
You have
You
the
can-
county attorney for that. You cannot talk to the Attorney General.
Yes, we
The
will.
county attorney
Yes,
talks to
he
the
asked me,
attorney,
put together the questions you want posed, and we'll pose them to the Attorney
but
General.
you cannot do it. The county attorney talks to the Attorney
Yes, I
General.
he said, put it
Yes.
together, and he will pose it to the county. And
And
then
right-
there will be a ruling like this, hopefully to protect this from ever happening again in Iowa. Because, be clear, we have no control over our minutes, none.
It's funny that we don't hear anything about any other county having trouble with their minutes.
I know. that is
No,
funny.
no way, no way.
I understand.
Only Page County is having trouble with their
If
minutes.
we had minutes that look like other counties, we probably would have no. trouble.
Oh,
You do have.
How?
How you speak and what you say in a meeting.
Oh,
that's right.
That's exactly. right.
I spoke, here's what I said. I made a motion to strike all discussion from the minutes. Here's what was wrote down. Holmes made a motion to strike all public comment from future meetings. So I spoke that and you wrote it wrong, and it's forevermore. I have no say in it. Do it. Can I change that? Will you let us amend that? It is wrong. Can you go watch a video and let me amend that? I'm not trying to fight. You're
I don't
telling
wanna
me
fight
I have
either.
control of what I say. I didn't say that.
If you don't want it said, don't say it.
I didn't say that, and it's in the minutes.
That's what's bad, it's not being
It's
said.
not true.
Right.
Well, we need to, that's another question. If we have any issues, that whole meeting is on video. Anybody can watch whatever happened there and any conduct towards anyone. That's fine. I have, if the worst thing was, it took a long time. That was sad.
No, that wasn't the worst thing.
And
You were
I-
cutting Kristen down, you were
I
cutting me
didn't
down,
cut
you were, yes, you were,
No, I
you were
did
being, both of you were being very rude. And you were saying naughty things about Kristen.
that is not true. So, we
That's
can watch
very
the video.
true.
It's very handy to have a video. Watch the video for yourself. I'm so glad we have a video because the minutes are not accurate. So I have taken these minutes, I just went through there and I struck anything that wasn't us talking. And I let you guys decide what you want to leave of that. I also fixed the absolutely wrong part with the minute marker, what I said at the end, 2 hours and 26 minutes happened. And also, if you go up there, Todd, you see where it says Holmes and Manger, it says in the minutes, feel like there have been mistakes in the minutes. I gave 2 clear examples, dates and times and minute markers of what happened, where the minutes were incorrect. So it should say Mayor and Holmes gave proof of mistakes in the minutes, not feel like it. He said what was wrong, if that even needs to stay.
And when did you come talk to me about those issues?
I do business about the minutes in the boardroom when we talk about minutes.
And
That's
if you
where it
need
should
to
take
talk to
place.
somebody about the minutes, I'm the auditor, you need to come talk directly to me.
When we go over our minutes
Please have
together,
some respect for my position.
I respect you. Please come sit here and us together, we'll talk to you about it.
So you can talk to her
Yeah.
in her office.
And I've been accused of things. I will not go anywhere where there's not witnesses. I will not be accused of anything, So,
Oh, we better watch out. You are always threatening me about what I'm saying. You better be careful
Right.
what you're saying.
what do you mean? I don't want to go, I would like to go to a public meeting where we can talk and work about it together. And that's what we're doing.
No, we're not. We're arguing and arguing and arguing over an hour. As Jerry Dietz pointed out a couple weeks ago, we did the business that was on the agenda in 50 minutes and argued about the minutes for another hour and 10. Again, last week, it was another hour. What has it been tonight? I'm not sure.
The majority of the board has asked for something and it's being done.
Okay, just do it and vote on it. Vote on it so we can leave. Okay? You vote yes, I'll vote nay. And we'll go.
Where are the minutes going? Nowhere? That's the question. Where, are the minutes going nowhere? We're voting on minutes.
They're going where our county attorney advised them to go.
Where's that?
The auditor is in charge of the text.
Where are the minutes that we amended?
I don't have a clue.
Like that start, where are they going?
Maybe in a file. I don't know.
There's a problem. That's why we're spending it out. We have no control.
You know, I'm getting.
Well, do you see the amendments, Todd? What do you want to? What's the point? They aren't listening to anything. we say. We cannot. conduct-
And you're not listening to anything we say either. Or to what the people
Well,
said, the
I
way
know-
it's been here.
I know, Tom Wagner did send us. an
Oh, right.
email,
Got it.
And his comments were all messed up.
Yep. he's
And
really-
he did email us all, I
Yeah.
think everybody's on
saw
that, so he would like those changed, cause
Yeah.
he didn't want that to be, that wasn't what he was talking about, he was a little upset about that.
He got up and he talked about how wonderful you two were.
Here's what his
I
comment
don't
says.
think he
to
said
them.
that.
Yeah, he did. He talked about how great
That's
you
not in
are.
the minutes.
No, but that's what he talked about
Here's
last
what
week.
his comment is. Supporting the minutes. Does he support what minutes? What, the way they are, the way we want them to be, what, that doesn't say. He very clearly defined, that does not, because it talked about the minutes, that'd have been more objective. We need to hire a ruling, that's what we need to do, we need to stop arguing. It's
You need to what?
We need to hire a ruling, we need to get to the attorney general. That's what we do. Then somebody can define the.
And you
language
already
that's
have it.
there. I don't, on our specific issue.
You don't have it because you don't think it agrees with you.
I
That's
do
the
not agree
problem.
with 1982 with this issue.
That's the problem.
I know I've asked you before, there's no option, because I think there is a way that if we wanted to hire somebody to do the minutes, but you would have to approve that. correct? And you don't wanna do
I would be more than happy to hire somebody to do this.
Can't.
Pam
Gotta have-
Hersberg offered to do that. She offered last week. to
Who
do this.
did?
Pam Hersberg.
No,
offered to
she
do this.
didn't.
Yes, she did.
No,
With
she
Greg
didn't.
Ritter, she offered to do it. She offered to do the minutes and she would have no problem putting this together and save a lot of time and effort.
Is there a way that, so you guys did the minutes there? I'll have to go back and look exactly when they were there, when they were really, kind of good and they're kind of pretty much fit what we had asked.
Here we go
For a
again.
couple months.
Everything was, can we go back to that style? Can you go back and look at that style and see what you think of that? And no, I think it's.
I don't
think
remember
it's
any
good.
minutes that you haven't changed.
But
Yes, there is,
was-
for
there-
several months.
There was a
March,
couple,
April,
there was.
Oh,
there was a couple
no,
weeks
no,
there
no.
that were really good. And
We
I
voted
don't think, yeah, and I don't think we argued about them,
No.
I think they were, we thought,
voted
man,
on
this is really good, And so, and so we know it can be done, I mean, you've done it. And so if we could go back and look at that, see what you think. See if you can model after that, cause that seemed to be okay.
In the last couple
Where
months,
I can get you the dates, or I can go look and see which ones those were, but I know there were several there that were like, "Oh, this is really, this is what we kind of were thinking about, so. Yeah, if we could go back and look at those, that would be nice, and then just see how we can work it in to getting close to that.
most of you want to do it in minutes.
Yeah, and so be clear of the process then. So if we vote on our minutes and we amend them, and we vote to change them, because I think last week I said, let's talk through them, let's communicate. If Judy has something she thinks is very important that needs to be in there, so be it. Let's have it in there. If Jacob says, something he wants in there, or maybe something he doesn't want in there, let's talk about it. But just to be able to have that level of detail that we can vote on that. And then I don't know if the time frame wise, I think that's why we were talking about having the minutes read at the end. Because then I thought, well, then it'd be easy to adjust them and still have time to get to the paper. And then there's none of this, we're publishing, unofficial minutes and then coming back in and then complaining or arguing about the wording or something wrong. And we're getting that factual information out to the public. So I don't know, I know this week you're not ready to do that, but if there's a way that, whatever that would be, if there's a way to do that at the end of the meeting, that might be something to try to strive towards. Maybe that would help us, that way we can get official minutes out that's been voted on, and then there's no worries.
I agree with that.
But, no, right. No, and, yeah. No, and I know if you do it shorthand, I don't know if you can read back shorthand, or, I don't know how that would work. But if there's a way, I'm just saying, if there's a way, maybe we can figure out something.
If we have to have a special meeting by Zoom, it'd be worth it to stop this. Just to send us the minutes and we'll go over them and then you can publish the ones we approve. I would be fine with that, whatever. We just gotta get this cleaned up. So things aren't printed that are wrong in the newspaper.
I mean, I don't think anybody wants to print stuff that's wrong. I mean, you guys don't wanna do it. We don't like to have our misquoted or things in there. And so I think we just want the chance to fix it before it gets out. And so, yeah, I think obviously there's somewhere we can find a happy place.
What all of this arguing is doing week after week after week is saying to the public, you're trying to hide something. That's basically what it's
thank
about.
God.
I'm not hiding anything.
I'm just saying, that's what the theory is out there, so.
Thank God we haven't been. And I encourage
And I
everybody to
haven't,
watch
And
it.
you-
I haven't heard that theory, nobody's.
And as you keep referring to the video is not permanent record. The paper is permanent
And it
record.
needs to be correct. Permanent record.
But the video, when you watch it, even when you watch it, people are talking over each other and things that people think were said, weren't said, and so
I do agree,
Very
the sound,
difficult.
the sound is very difficult on a video.
it's not
It
the
is
sound,
hard to
it's
do.
not the sound. It's people talking over somebody else, interrupting and talking.
We've had, big issue I had, no one was talking very clearly, like I could very clearly. What was said. So it was incorrect, it's in the newspaper. So how do we do this? We don't have like a Zoom meeting on Tuesdays or something?
No,
To let us look at our minutes before they go out?
no.
I don't know why that'd be wrong. Why is that wrong? Or come in here, I don't care, here on Tuesday, look at our minutes and make sure they're correct and factual.
When do you send them to the paper? When do you send the minutes out to the paper? When does it have to be there? Okay, so, but there's probably a deadline to get in the paper, like, when that is. Like, you have to send them out on Tuesday or Wednesday or Mondays. I don't. So would there, just trying to think through to try to fix them before. Can they go out the week after? Oh, no, because the state has to have.
And I know Jacob keeps saying there are people going out, but I've checked with ISAC legal counsel, and what we're doing and how we're identifying them as official is acceptable.
Yeah.
So,
But
I mean, I really wanna make sure that's clear, because there's nothing that we are doing that is illegal with this process.
according to code, the motions have to be correct, and the motion's not correct. So. and
It
the other-
wasn't
that was
actually-
motion Last week was correct. That's the second.
Nothing was done with it.
Well, the
Okay.
meeting should have stopped before that.
Those
Right,
need to
it
be
should have
correct.
stopped.
And on the unofficial minutes, I think at the bottom, it should not have my name. I do not want my name on those minutes. That is not, I mean, it's not until we get this fixed, it should say Auditor Wellhouse. And then it's not the board. We don't get to vote on it. Why is our name? We have no right to say anything about it. It should say Auditor Wellhouse minutes, period.
Here,
Do those,
When-
do
when
those
do we
have to
do
be
that?
signed to go to the paper, or can you send an official signature?
My name is the bottom, like I said. What is it?
I send.
And maybe if they're unofficial, maybe we could send names on it. It's unofficial.
Now, all the boards I'm on, we sit together and go through the minutes, so people can help work through it. One person just doesn't fix it on their own. So if I come privately and say, I don't like these things, and you fix them, then they come to you privately. Why wouldn't we do that in the boardroom together? In the public eye? That would be the correct way to do it, and how everywhere. So is there a day, we need to do a Tuesday, do this? Let's compromise. Let's get where we can get the minutes back, fix them and be done with it.
The auditor's office has other things to do besides deal with our minutes. I'm just telling you.
How do we we need to vote on these minutes, and maybe they need nothing, maybe they need a lot, but we need to have power. So Tuesdays, we'll do. Are you
How about-
complicit with that? Let's get together on Sunday.
How about- How about this? So you put your official or unofficial minutes, you have to send it to the paper. If you can get it without signatures, that would be better. We still vote on our minutes, on our meeting, our regular scheduled meeting. Those minutes that we vote on are then published to our website
And the paper,
as the official minutes.
put them on the paper too. Might as well.
Run it.
It's gonna cost money, but it's just because we won't have another meeting, we get fixed at the end of the meeting. It's not
My
our-
only next step is to get your agent. If not. So,
Let's wait till we get that. Do whatever you're gonna do for tonight's minutes, or last week's minutes. Let's move on.
They're not gonna print them anyway. You wanna look at them, Todd, next week, we do it, it doesn't even matter. You wanna look at them some more, see what he's done? I did some corrections.
Yeah, well, there's some things I wanted to change, but
We will do.
we can go back and figure out what they're next week.
There's
They're
still
already-
only been a file 13 trash cans. we'll just go over next week. Have them there, so when the Attorney General fixes this, we're gonna go back in time. If it goes, the way I think it's gonna go, we're gonna fix all these things, right, print them all on paper and fix everything, this is, we'll just see how it goes down. Okay, so then I guess we're gonna take, I don't know what, look at them and we'll take action on next week, I guess, unless you're good with it, or you wanna add something.
Just take no action on these.
I'm not
this
sending them
week.
anywhere. They don't even get put on the website. Once we amend them, they don't even go on the website. That's for everybody to know. They do not go on the website after we amend them. They go nowhere. So I guess look at it good and see what I put on there and look at it next week. Well, on that, we motion to adjourn.
I know we adjourned. What?
Oh, claims. I make a
Might take
motion,
a
I make a motion.
No.
we-
Oh, we gotta do claims.
Might be a long time here, or maybe a time, couple minutes. It might take me a while.
Those were sent to you. You could have looked at them
I
before.
know, glad you got them. I like to double check everything's the same as it was in email.
They were all
Sometimes-
emailed to you.
I know, but what if one gets missed? I like to double check things. before I send it.
Are you,
Yeah, probably.
Print this out.
they did.
That's the ARPA.
Oh, okay, what it's been spent on.
More money has been spent on secondary road on the rock and rock hauling in this last week. And then some more to Farmsville. Those are the two things.
Also, I signed up for the ISAC thing, I think you did too. Is that the same protocol as? The annual conference in August. It's kind of this like the spring one in the fall. And we book our own hotel. That, okay. But you pay the $250? The county does? Okay. I think so, because I just, when you fill, it kind of fills in when you log in and then you like register, and then it just fills everything out. I'm assuming, do I have to do anything? I did get an email, to send that to you.
the sewer line bill that's in here, courthouse. That they had trouble with the bathrooms, the sewer bill. Are they all flushing right now? Are they all flushing right now? I mean, did they get them when they are working? For the first Saturday, Sunday night, I went and tested them all, once to make sure. See the bill here. Okay. People have been very good to keep an eye on. Whenever I told them, meet, watch, if there's any trouble, immediately. No. For the cruising Clarinda and. Linda Marcus. Thanks. They got one. Motion.
Motion to pay the claims?
All those in favor? Aye. Got that? All right, need to sign this document for Cena.
Please, yes.
Contingent, so hold on to it until we get money in. Do the documents we need to sign before we adjourn? Is that all the documents we need? Are we missing any documents?
Ignore my front page.
Okay, well, everything's signed and done, the business is done, and I guess we'll adjourn, most of the adjourn.
I moved. I come to-
Second, we're adjourned, thank you.